And here we are, Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, on brutal difficulty. If you've been around the block before, you know exactly what this means. A lot of cover, a lot of ammo, and a whole lot of dying. Brutal isn't just hard mode, it's completely unfair mode, because the game will just look at you, laugh, and tell you to fuck right off. It's like trying to enter the salty Splatoon without muscles on your muscles. And as you can see, I have plenty of those. So I can say with certainty now, it is a completely different beast. So in this video, you're gonna see the whole run, every strategy I come up with, all those strategies completely falling apart, and yes, of course, the death counter.
What am I doing?
Over 1,000. You'll see the goods, bads, and all of the dude come on moments that make brutal so fun, yet so miserable. If you're new here, welcome. This is basically what I do. I trophy hunt and death count video games, partly because I'm stubborn, partly because I want a perfect trophy list, but mostly because I just want to know if they can actually be done, even if it takes a few hundred attempts. So grab a snack, settle in, and enjoy the chaos. This is Uncharted, Drake's Fortune, on brutal difficulty. The full, scratch that, painful, but somehow still fun experience.
What was that?
Let's get to it. We're starting here, on Chapter 1, with 0 deaths. Like most good stories, this game starts on Chapter 1, and overall it's a fairly easy chapter. Despite that, I still die like 3 times, and I learn 3 things from that. First, you only get 1 or 2 shots to live. Like literally the first shot is a warning shot, maybe. Half the time it kills you, and the second one will definitely get you if your head is poked out long enough. And yes, I know before you nerds get in the comments like, actually he has luck points, not hit points. Yeah, I know, okay? It's just easier to explain HP than luck and go into the lore of Uncharted. This is only episode 1, give it time, okay? The second thing I learned is that my aim is pretty dog shit, and that is partly because it's an old and slow game, and that's also partly because I am also dog shit, and that does improve, but it takes a little bit. The third thing I learned is that this is classic Naughty Dog, so the higher you increase the difficulty, the less ammo you get in return. That means you just have to be super careful with your aiming and try to melee a lot, frankly. Why couldn't I melee him? It really makes you think, like, how can I do this arena better, or how can I do this stage differently? Eventually though, we do get rescued by Sully, who flies us into Chapter 2. After that extreme firefight in Chapter 1, Chapter 2 starts pretty peacefully. So you just get to learn the movement and a little bit about our characters. And speaking of that, let's give us a quick rundown. First we met Nate. He is our main character hero. He is pretty cool and gets himself into unlucky situations, but finds a lucky way out of it, and always has a great one-liner. You guys just met Elena. She's a journalist whose boat we just blew up and then left, so that's pretty freaking cool. And last but not least, we have our trusty mentor Sully, who's been in the game for years and always has a cigar and a dirty joke ready. We keep exploring the jungle for a bit before we run into our first bit of parkour, and this was really cool for the time. Remember, this was 2007, but this also introduces us to just how janky this game is. Yeah, you just got to embrace it. Then we make a hole in the ground using our superhuman strength, and we jump into this temple. To get through this next area, we have to shoot a bunch of these braziers, which are still on fire miraculously after all these years. And then we finally encounter our first puzzle. It helps that you can only look in your journal when you're doing a puzzle. Unlike other games, that was a change, but it's really easy overall because you just have to follow the numbers in the journal, and those correspond to these doors that you just have to push in on the walls. When you do all that in the right order, it opens up the giant hole in the floor. Once we climb in the hole in the ground, we have to... Oh, what's that, Sully?
Hey, watch your step down.
Nah, I'm sure we'll be okay.
You're a fucking idiot.
If we decide to actually listen to Sully though, then we go left, push this giant stone, then jump in the water, explore the temple, blow up the door, and let Sully through. Then we have to run away from these walls, Crash Bandicoot style, wink wink, nudge nudge, and that brings us outside and into Chapter 3. To start Chapter 3, we monkey around a U-boat. That's exactly where it shouldn't be. Climb inside and explore a little bit. I skipped this cutscene because I'm trying to get through this as quickly as possible. And that brings us to our first set of actual deaths. Specifically this guy, we're getting shot at from the back, and I just keep trying to melee this guy, and I just get really unlucky. I can't do the brutal combo. I don't know what's going on. And then finally, I'm kind of able to just make it through, and I'm not questioning it. So I just run straight through it, and then that leads us to meet up with Elena. Now that we're on, you'd think we do better, but we don't as soon as we encounter these guys, and that leads us to our next couple of deaths. And you would not believe how many deaths I get from this whole hallway in total. It's actually pretty difficult. I clicked circle to keep exploring, and this part is really difficult because you can't avoid the stairs that are right here. That is the only entrance to this hallway, and you are forced to go down this long tunnel. Like, I pretty much consistently died. For instance, right here I got a headshot and then I stood still for whatever reason, so that caused me to immediately die, and that just made me think like how janky this game actually is. And that's just because it's an old game, but it does add an extra difficulty layer on top of this already kind of difficult game. Nay, very difficult game. A couple more deaths and I learned to roll to the side, which was pretty good. Brutal difficulty is definitely brutal. I agree with that, but I do kind of find a good strategy here.
Am I even on chapter 3 yet?
Yes, you are still on chapter 3. I eventually made it out of this first part and into the second part, which is nice, but I used my last bullet to take out this guy, which is super cool. But then I was like, I have no bullets. I don't know what to do. And that's when I learned that when you die, you respawn with more bullets. Oh, nice. We're finally at 50 deaths. It only took us 3 chapters. Also, it's a good thing NPCs can't die because Elena definitely would have right here.
I'm fine there. Elena, that's not...
Like, seriously? She is a tank. But once we get the last guy, she's able to bring us to her Jeep, and we're able to drive into Chapter 4. Just like Chapter 2, Chapter 4 starts off pretty serenely, which is kind of nice, except it very quickly gets not that way. I mean, hell, dude, even the water is dangerous. I died to that like twice. Also, I tried saving here, and then I made it, which was nice, but I found out that saving doesn't work, so don't try it. I don't really learn my lesson till later, but just don't try it. I'm also grateful for this wooden board that's right here, because I don't know how it's this bulletproof, but if it wasn't, I would definitely be dead right now. It's kind of crazy that this small area was 27 deaths because this next arena has 4 phases to it, and somehow I have just as many deaths. So as soon as you jump into this arena, you have to get these first couple of guys, but you pretty much instantly get spotted, so you have to figure out a way to not do that. And speaking of stealthing, there's no real way to stealth this arena either. Unlike other arenas, you actually have to go through every phase of this fight instead of like figuring out a way to get everyone's quietly.
We got it! I don't even know what killed me there.
I'm watching this footage back, I still don't know what got me there. I did have a pretty close call here, and so I tried saving, but then I immediately died. This is when I finally learned that I couldn't save in this game like modern games.
But now, if I click... Nope. So you can't actually save.
It's been like less than 1 full chapter and we're already at death 100. Let's freaking go. Then I started having a pretty good run, but this guy doesn't die to this grenade, so it wasn't a good run anymore.
Come on, come on, come on. Are you kidding me?
And then I finally made it to a checkpoint, but I'm still in the arena.
Why was I not able to hit him? Why was he not able to hit me? Oh, it's just gonna keep me here though. I'll take this.
Once you pick off the last couple of guys though, you're able to get into the next area by kicking down the gate. Ooh, never mind. Luckily at checkpoints here though, so you're able to just climb up the side, and I'm actually kind of able to just stay here and play like a messed up version of whack-a-mole, but then I'm actually able to make it through this section without dying, which is pretty nice. Do a little bit more parkour, and I fail at this super basic jump. I thought I was done here. So I started reloading as I was running into the next area, and that's when I remembered that there are more people here, which was super cool. It's also always fun to die to your own grenade, and here I think I find a new strat, but then I immediately die.
Well, that's not the play.
And just when I get super close to the end, this guy gets me.
No! Son of a bitch.
To finish off the last couple guys in the area, I just say screw it and throw a grenade, and that does the job pretty well. We do a short bit of parkour, and then we hang off the side of this bridge and die a lot. And don't worry, it's not just the enemies that'll kill you, it's the freaking water, too. Guess how many times I died of water in this episode alone? Put your answers in the comments. I even go so far as to change my controller sensitivity, thinking that would help. No, No,
I'm
because
sitting
why
much
would it?
closer to this screen than I am. Yeah. Yep. See, is this a better angle?
Nope. And don't worry, in
I'm
true
gonna lie,
gamer fashion,
maybe one of my
I
favorite
try the
games
exact
ever.
same thing again on my next life, and yep, I died again.
Okay, so they can.
Who would have
hit my
guessed?
shoulders a lot.
Another water death
Homemade
later, and I
wall.
finally figure
Wow,
out how to
sick.
get on top of the ledge, and then I managed to just get extremely lucky here and pick off both enemies right after each other,
Finally.
and I don't question it, and I
Finally,
just
I'll
keep
take
going.
that. Go. Jump. No. No. Oh, okay. Thank
Yep,
God.
that explains this game in a nutshell.
was gonna have
I somehow managed to die. I somehow managed to die to falling. I somehow managed die. That's how I write it. That's not how I need to say it. I somehow managed to die to falling
Why would
a
you do
couple
that?
more times before
If I don't,
jumping
then you kinda just-
directly into this guy's bullet.
Nice.
No,
Not
you
dive
still
under.
can't really
Guess
swim.
not.
At least it's not a good idea.
Oh my God.
And then that marks death number 4 to water. Whoa!
Great.
Honestly, I think the game is taking pity on me at this point because on my next life, I'm able to just blind fire this guy, and then I'm also lucky enough to get the guy next to him immediately after, which
There we go.
is super awesome. So I climb over to this little bit of land and catch my breath, pick up some ammo and a grenade, climb this vine, and go into the next area.
Oh, this arena sucks. This arena is gonna suck so bad.
And that's best represented by me immediately getting seen and killed. Awesome. Once I actually got into the arena,
That way.
my first idea was to throw a grenade, and that kind of worked, but like
Yeah,
not
that
really.
got you.
They responded mainly by throwing grenades back,
Very little
and I learned that the hard way. But then I learned
Yeah,
the
throwing it,
ultimate
'cause I
strategy,
think
which is that you don't need to actually arc
like,
throw your
auto
grenades.
throws
If you
it
just tap the
correctly.
grenade throw
Just do
button,
that.
which should be like L1 or L2, instead of holding it down, you're able to just like beam the grenade straight to your enemies. And frankly, that was like a game changer for me. Now, if I was a smart person, I would have used that exact strategy in my next life, but I didn't. Instead, I employed the classic gamer technique, wait too long and they'll find you anyway, and that goes about as well as it
Damn.
always does. On my next life though, I was like, oh yeah, I should probably do that grenade thing again. And I was able to get 3 enemies with just 1 grenade, and that was awesome. I just wish I could have actually used it to advance, because
Damn it.
once I was able to consistently non-arc throw the grenades though, I made it through the entire arena without a bullet to spare, literally. So I scrounged up as much ammo as I could before heading into the plane. I skipped the cutscene and immediately headed out of the plane, and it took a couple tries, but I was able to make like a murder alley, like going straight down. And that was pretty successful. That brings us to the last section of this arena, which was the worst. Frankly, I'm going to speed through this whole thing because it was literally like 40 deaths just to make it from this checkpoint to that door, the end of the arena. I don't know why, and it hurts me to this day thinking about it. Once I finally do manage to kill the last guy though, I collect as much ammo as I can, as always,
Keep a
and I
grenade
bask in the fact that this whole arena was 69 deaths total. Nice. It
That's
just wouldn't
awesome,
be
dude.
Uncharted though if there
How
wasn't
are they?
some
How'd they
death-defying
taste?
parkour
How
to
are they?
interrupt
I
all
haven't
these fight
wobbled
sections.
quite a bit,
But once we
I would-
land, we're pretty easily able to sneak attack these first 2 enemies.
Please don't see
It doesn't
me.
always work, but I'd say it works like 80% of the time, so that's the method I go with. You just really gotta get your timing right, like pretty much everything else in this game.
Otherwise,
From here, I take out a couple more enemies, including this guy at the top of this structure. That's the key player. You gotta get up there and use his rocket launcher for the next section of enemies, but you gotta be careful because you only really can use like 1 round per wave of enemies. Once I learned that, I'm actually able to make it through, and in my efforts to collect ammo, I set off a freaking tripwire. So I have to restart it again. Shouldn't be too hard, I just did it, right? And, you know, in fact, on the next life, I even make it all the way to the last enemy again. So, how about that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I actually died to him though, so
No, dude.
that almost counts. So I'm restarting this again. And I actually used the grenade launcher pretty well.
Let's go.
But I just completely forgot about the 4th wave,
Come on.
That was cool. And then I'm even able to make it to the last wave again.
Huh.
But this time,
No.
I run out of ammo.
No, dude.
What the hell? So I restart from the end for a 4th time, and it takes a couple tries, but I'm finally able to make it. And don't worry, I am super careful when I am collecting ammo this time.
Yeah, we made it.
But that means
We
I
made
am
it.
finally
Let's
done
go.
with Chapter 4.
Only took us an hour
This
and a
whole
half.
arena was 30 deaths. Frankly, not too bad. It's just that
Here we
at
go.
least 4 of them were
Finally.
basically my fault, or at least that I'm going to take responsibility for. On to Chapter 5. Chapter 5, once again, starts with some vine parkour on the outside of this chapter.
Man, that
Then you
really
go
was-
inside the castle, then outside the castle, then back inside the castle, and into your first firefight of this chapter. And let me just tell you, it doesn't get any easier, okay? At first, I tried waiting by the door, and that didn't work. And then I tried just going in guns a-blazing, and that didn't work.
No.
Actually, I was able to find a half-decent strategy where if you take cover right here and you constantly move back and forth, then you should be okay until this 3rd guy pops out with grenades. That maybe you won't be okay. What the hell?
I don't even know what my death counter is at right now. I'm not sure I want to know.
Oh, sweet. I've now died 300 times in this game, and my notes just say, think of something funny. Clowns.
Pretty much
But by using the Uzi, I'm able to tear through these first couple of guys. And I am pretty lucky, and I'm able to shoot this guy who's about to throw a grenade, which means he drops it and it explodes, killing himself. And then I'm actually able to one-shot headshot the guy next to him immediately after that. So I gather up all my ammo and head into the next section, which is just
Damn it.
another fight section.
I'm sure the shotgun was not out. Yep. Dude, I was literally...
Come on! I found that the best strat here was to make another murder alley because that seems to be the only way to make any real progress in this game. And I must have been clairvoyant or something because I just shoot this red barrel, not knowing if anyone is near it, and I kill an enemy. So, who's a real gamer now? Huh? After I take out the remaining enemies, I collect up all the ammo for this arena and head to the top, where I get shot at out of nowhere, and that freaks me out so much, I run off of the freaking edge. I actually get pretty lucky, and I'm able to make it back to this point pretty quickly, using my last bullet to get the last guy using another red barrel. Once I collect all the ammo, I make sure to take out the guy that surprised me last time, and climb up to where Elena's parachute is. Only, Elena's not there. What? So we zip line down into this bunker and immediately die, because of course we do.
Oh, wow.
I try to stay in this bunker, but I don't have a great shot, so I use the first pistol to shoot the lock off, and then I use the West 44 to try to take out the rest of the guys, because even on brutal difficulty, the West 44 is still a powerhouse. It takes me a couple deaths, but I'm able to make it through this whole arena, and I actually recommend running along the top here, because there was one more shotgun guy that I didn't see, and he probably would have surprised me like the last guy did. Once we're all geared up and ready, I head into the area where those guys just came from, and turns out it's just a super narrow hallway with a really trigger-happy turret at one end. It's not overly difficult though, you just gotta do some parkour along this wall here where you're pretty safe, and then get your timing right, jump up and melee the guy that's standing in this little room, use his grenade launcher to take out the turret, and that's that. You definitely gotta stockpile your ammo in here though while you can, because this next section is horrendous. This next section, it honestly may be the worst gaming experience I've ever had. It takes me a few deaths before I even figure out how to make it through the first wave of enemies here. What works for me is distracting the first guy, hitting the guy in the top left, getting the guy in front of you, and then getting the far guy. It didn't always work, but after a couple tries, I was able to get it pretty consistently. I wasn't feeling too great at this point though, because the death counter is now up 200 from the start of the episode, and I'm nowhere near done with this arena. A few deaths later, and I realized the key to the second wave is using the AK. From there, I was running on pure adrenaline, and I actually easily took out the third wave too without realizing it. But that's when I forgot that the fourth wave existed, and I died.
I thought.
What sucks is, like, I
this
believe
is
if I
4
had, like,
phases?
remembered, because of, like, I was so locked in, I could have made it.
I guess I've always.
Of course I
just
would have thought I would have made it, though.
combined the
It's always the
third and
game's
fourth phase.
never mine, except for earlier
not-
when it was. From there, though, I was just tired, and I got sloppy.
one
I just kept dying over and over and over and over again. Like, I don't even feel like I can make an MLG pro gamer joke for Death 420 because, like,
Why wouldn't you
nothing
duck?
freaking happened. That also means I've put like 100 deaths in just this arena alone so far, and there was nothing I wanted more than to just put the controller down and stop for the night. But I felt like I couldn't because I hate stopping in the middle of arenas. I don't know if anyone else is like this, but like I have to grind through a boss fight, even if I hate it, because if I put the controller down, I'll never get back to it. I'll just keep thinking like, oh my god, I have to do that arena when I get back, and then I'll just never pick it up again. Happened with Baldur's Gate 3. I've made it all the way to the last boss fight, literally the final battle. I am in Baldur's Gate. I haven't beaten it yet. It's been sitting on my PlayStation for months now. That's true. Plus, if I did that, it would just be a repeat of last episode, and I can't do that. I can't have that. So I pressed on.
And now there's
I really should have like prayed to the video game gods or something though, because it's still another 30 deaths before I make it. But let me tell you, when I did,
Let's go! Holy hell.
once I was able to pick my chin up in disbelief, I collected up some ammo and went into the very short last puzzle of the chapter.
Okay,
You swim
part of the
through,
chapter.
climb on the left side, turn the wheel to raise the water level, then you jump in, go to the right side, climb up, turn the wheel again, and raise the water level some more.
Now,
And then you just climb on out. And that is chapter 5. So to tally it all up, this last arena took 45 minutes of real time. That was 137 deaths and 323 deaths in this episode alone. Oh my god.
oh man.
As I'm sure you can tell by my voice, I was not super confident going into this.
Alright.
And that's shown by the fact that this arena actually took 2 streams to complete. In the first stream, I tried for like an hour and made literally 0 progress. I think work that day was just like particularly rough or something, and I also stupidly decided to stream this game instead of a more relaxing game like, I don't know, Fortnite or something.
This is gonna be a weird one to edit later.
Yeah, you're telling me past me. During
know
the
this is,
stream,
like,
I literally had to
super
look up a
not
tutorial on how to complete this arena, and I still couldn't figure it out.
So I had to
You know
take a
what?
break and come back later.
been
It
about
proved to be
45
hugely
minutes.
beneficial. From the first stream, I learned 2 things. First,
Was that the shotgun is really ineffective at long ranges. Who would have guessed, right? But the second thing I learned was actually from the tutorial, and that was how to trigger the second wave without dying immediately, which was nice.
what I did was I would take out the first 2 guys, then I would line up my headshots and take out the top 2 guys, run into this room to grab some ammo and grenades, then I would run up these stairs, and instead of turning left, I would jump right and run back into this room. I'd still get hit occasionally, but it wasn't that bad. From there, I was able to use a thing called active or alternative cover, and that like changed everything. I took out those top 3 guys, easy peasy, collected their ammo, turned the wheel to unlock this previously gated off area, and start some light platforming.
At least platforming doesn't innately kill you.
Huh, pun
Innately
past me,
jump,
except it totally does.
Oh, okay.
Once you get past that though, you're able to climb up this tower and find these keys conveniently on some rope for you to get back down. And what you're supposed to do is go to this door that again conveniently has 2 large keys on it. But I couldn't figure that out as a kid like years ago, and I remember just like running around this arena for like 30 minutes before figuring that out. I don't know why. Did that happen to any of y'all? Did anyone else also get lost on this section when this game first came out? Let me know in the comments below. Once you do go through the door though, you're greeted by the classic Naughty Dog stun of a long, meaningless hallway with ammo at the end.
Oh, look, it's just
I wonder what that could lead to. Oh, that's right, more death. Thanks, turret guy, for reminding me. I tried taking cover, and that didn't really work. So I tried taking alternative cover farther back, and that also didn't really work. Eventually, though, I rolled to this first barricade, and that's when I saw a grenade launcher with exactly 1 round in it, and I knew exactly what to do with that.
There we go. Okay.
So that becomes the new plan, but I still have no idea how to get through the rest of the enemies that are still coming in. After a few more deaths, I see something shiny coming from this alcove on the right, and that's when I realize that it's a fresh West 44. I'm able to rotate between these 3 weapons to take out the remaining enemies, being sure to use the West 44 at the very end to just like guarantee the end of the arena. Then you go through this hallway that you don't even have to aim to take out enemies down, which is super cool. And then doubly cool, you're able to use the turret that was used against you in the last arena. You're not bulletproof though, so I had to keep going on, and I was actually killed by an enemy at the last minute, which sucked. The checkpoint wasn't too bad though, and I was able to just quickly get back into that room to look at a map on the wall, survive a sneak attack by an enemy, and then skip a cutscene where Nate not only gets captured, but rescued by Elena, who drives us into Chapter 7.
Nate!
And by drive, I mean die immediately. This chapter was really brutal, and not in the usual like flow and painful but kind of rewarding way. It was brutal in the I literally have no idea what I'm doing wrong way. My first strategy was to just keep shooting, and shockingly, that doesn't work. It's by the time death 600 rolls around, and I still have no idea what I'm doing, that I find out that the turret also has grenades on it. That would have been nice to know like 10 deaths ago.
It has.
Oh my god!
I didn't know it had explosives.
Eventually I do make it though, and I have absolutely no idea how, mind you, so good luck if you ever try this yourself. Also, just straight up, this bridge part sucks because it whip hands your screen to the right, even though there are still enemies coming at you from the left. So like I died here a lot. My only tip is to just like take out every enemy when you immediately see them and get the chance to, because this whole chapter really just feels like luck. Eventually I do make it though. I have no idea how, mind you, and I skip the cutscene into Chapter 8. Chapter 8 starts with I think the only little bit of water that you can safely swim in, which I guess is kind of cool. And then this first little arena isn't difficult at all, and I just breeze through these guys, turn this wheel, and then jump on this jet ski with Elena. From here, you control both Nate and Elena, but it's not actually all that difficult if you have a little bit of patience. My strategy is to just tap the gas instead of constantly accelerate, and then blow up these red barrels while you can from a safe distance, because the last thing you want to do is think you're safe because you killed every enemy in the arena just to die to a red barrel. Ask me how I know. But once you make it through this last stage, you jet ski over this ramp, and then you abandon Elena, which is actually kind of good because this next part is kind of difficult for some reason. My strategy going in was to use the AK on the first couple of enemies, so that way I could conserve the West 44 ammo for the second wave of enemies. After a few deaths, I finally made it into the arena where I had to take out the grenade launcher guy, who's always on top of a structure for some reason. That proved to be a little difficult because of his quick reloading time, but eventually I got him to get himself, and that was pretty cool. So then I tried to take on the third wave of enemies by waiting by the door, and of course this is when I died. And that's when I realized that there's only one checkpoint for this whole arena, and that's all the way back at the start. And that was super frustrating because it meant that I couldn't try a new strategy for the third wave until I got back there, and that just took a while. Eventually though, what I was able to do was grab the grenade launcher that the guy dropped and use that to its full potential on the third wave, and because of where I strategically dropped my AK-47, once I ran out of ammo, I ran back to grab it and just took out the rest of the guys. From here, there's only one enemy, and you would think that'd be pretty easy, but
never mind. Dude, this one person, like 3 deaths for this. 4 deaths. What is that? Why does it let you just like heal?
Yeah, what a great way to close out this chapter. Because once you get rid of him, you just turn the wheel, jump back onto the jet ski with Elena, and make your way into Chapter 9. Chapter 9 doesn't start all that differently from Chapter 8, and the fact that it's just jet skiing. And honestly, this is one of my favorite parts of the entire game because there's no reload time. and constantly spamming grenades is always never not fun.
No! Seriously?
Again, the key here is to just memorize enemy positions, and you'll be okay. Elena then drops you off again to completely fend for yourself, but honestly this arena isn't that difficult. Then there's 2 more enemies across the water that throw grenades at you, but they mostly just splash in the water. And then you go into the arena that they were in, and honestly I didn't have a great line of sight, so it was a little tricky at first, but then I just threw grenades at all the clustered enemies, and that seemed to do the trick. So I gathered up all my ammo and jumped into the last arena for this chapter. This arena isn't easy for a number of reasons. First, these shotgunner guys take like 2 West 44 hits, which is just ridiculous because why build up the concept of an insta-kill weapon and then have it not insta-kill anymore? Second, there's of course a grenade launcher guy. There's always a grenade launcher guy, and he just loves lobbing grenades at you. Third, there's just like a shit ton of guys. The first wave has a few enemies and a couple shotgunner enemies. And the second wave has a couple more enemies and the grenade launcher dude. And then the third wave has even more enemies that love to run through the middle. And then the fourth wave has a bunch of enemies who just hang out in the back. Realistically though, the last 2 waves aren't all that difficult if you know how to use enemy line of sight detection, and you just wait a little bit, and from here you're pretty much at the end of the chapter. You go into this tower to take out the last 2 guys with a couple melee hits, and then like usual you have a small puzzle to finish things off. Pull this lever to move this chain, and then climb up it, and to the right to pull another lever and move another chain, and then just climb your way out. And oh, there's one more guy. He took me by surprise, but I was able to get him pretty easily, and then zip line all the way back down to where Elena dropped us off back in Chapter 8 to meet back up with her. This episode, while not breaking any records, still resulted in a staggering amount of deaths. Chapter 6 led the charge, no surprise there, with 93 deaths. And I'm surprised at how close Chapters 7 and 8 were, given how different the levels were. And then Chapter 9 really just felt like a normal video game level, with like no brutal difficulty. All of this resulted in a whopping 220 deaths for the episode, and 716 deaths for the game so far. Chapter 10 starts by walking up some stairs and going into your first little firefight. Surprisingly, I didn't actually have much of an issue with this fight at all. I had some really well-placed headshots, and I even threw a grenade to get the enemy above me. Then, for the first of many times this episode, I collected all the ammo, turned a wheel, skipped a cutscene, and immediately hit the ground running. Oh, wait, there's a lock on the door first.
Always a lock on the door. They thought they were so clever.
That's what I'm saying, dude. But then I hit the ground running and jumping, and I even managed to shoot off the next lock. But then I literally hit the ground. Cool. First death this episode is actually fall damage. Awesome. I do manage to make it on the next life, and oh, that's it for Chapter 10. I guess I move swiftly into Chapter 11, and you'll see why I call this the torture chamber.
Oh, that was it. Alright, Chapter 11.
Who's this now?
So, for Chapter 11, you just hop this railing, and oh, that's what it's like to be on the other side of James Bond's reticle.
Maybe
Good to know. But, as it turns out, the Dragon Sniper is actually really good if you hit your shots. I just, don't. I was making good progress on this run though, so I stupidly lowered my guard, and that meant I didn't see the last enemy who was hiding, so he completely frazzled me. Luckily I got him, but that means I didn't see the second wave starting, and so then they got me. It was actually this arena though, where I learned how to aim a little more accurately. Because both the Dragon Sniper and West 44 are one-hit kills, I didn't want to waste any ammo. So I slowly took out every enemy one by one, and I finally made it out after like 20 deaths. So what do you think? Did you find this arena just as difficult as I did? Let me know in the comments below. Another thing I didn't want to waste was time. So I turned a wheel to skip a cutscene to deal with some enemies on the stairs, to skip another cutscene to go into a cave to deal with more enemies, and then finally finished off the chapter. There we go. Chapter 12 has a trophy attached to it for speedrunning the whole thing in less than 5 minutes. I actually already have this trophy, so I don't really remember how to do this level normally, but it turns out my strategy of don't shoot a single enemy seems to work out alright. Funnily enough, on life 747, a red barrel actually fell on my head, but nothing happened, only going to show that Nate Drake is in fact stronger than a Boeing plane. All told though, this chapter is pretty easy, especially so because of all of these little corners that you can go and hide in to regain health, but doubly especially so because this next chapter is like the 4th layer of hell. Surprise, surprise, chapter 13 is literally my chapter from hell, because it took me like an hour and a half to complete. That's like half of the original stream. For some reason though, this only fuels Elena because she just goes running off.
Just slow down. One of Eddie's goons could be up ahead.
Immediately dies to one of Eddie's goons up ahead. See, Elena, what you actually want to do is go to the left here and... oh, never mind. So what you really want to do is take out the first couple of enemies, throw a grenade to help take out the second set of enemies, and then make it up some stairs into like the only unskippable cutscene for some reason.
Well, get the headshot. Okay, never mind.
And this is only the start to why this is such a difficult arena. Once you make it inside, and thank God at checkpoints here, you can't go left because of the enemies that rush you down the stairs, and you can't go right because of the enemies above you and the ones from the middle.
On normal difficulty, like this arena sucks.
Yeah, I think I'd rather get struck by lightning than have to do this arena again on brutal difficulty. I eventually figure out this weird strat where I can bait the middle group to spawn and then throw a grenade to at least hurt most of them. But I still end up dying.
Damn it.
Time after time.
Alright. God. If I headshot him, then, you know, of course, that would be ideal.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong if, buddy. Honestly though, this arena is just so freaking frustrating. Like, we're at 50 deaths in this arena, which means we're over 800 deaths in the game so far, and I still have no idea how to make it through. At this point, I was like an hour into this arena with really no progress to show for it, when finally the stars aligned. My strat was to grenade the first set of enemies like earlier, and then run around and try to flank the next set of enemies. Then I would run to the bottom of the stairs and just kind of wait for the last set of enemies, and I even remembered to get the shotgunner who's just gonna come running through this door. From there, it's a pretty standard pattern of platforming, small puzzle, collect ammo, turn wheel, go through the... another huge fight scene?
Because this isn't too ridiculous of a fight sequence, actually.
He says naively.
Believe it.
Yeah, so I think the trick here is the opposite of the last arena, where instead of being super patient for every enemy, here you should be playing super aggressively and quickly. First, use this dragon sniper to take out the 2 snipers up top and any other enemies on the ground, and then just use cover and shoot everyone else. I know it sounds super basic, but really the trick is to just play aggressively. There is a second wave that caught me off guard, but it's honestly not that difficult, so once you take them out, collect a bunch of ammo, go into the library to save Sully, and oh my god, another shootout. This one actually isn't too terrible though. My strategy here is to not jump down into the middle, and if you do, don't do it multiple times. And straight. Other than that, the grenade launcher enemy is kind of a pain, but like, what else is new? Eventually I take out all the enemies to meet up with Sully, and this interaction leads to a puzzle happening, which in my opinion is pretty poorly designed. There's these 4 statues that relate to this big compass on the ground, and all of these correlate to these 2 journal entries about it, but I don't really think it gives you enough information to be able to complete it on your own. What you're supposed to do is turn these statues to face the direction of their orientation, except these 2, Luke and Mark, aren't at the same points on the compass as they are in your journal. Literally every time I get to this puzzle, I have to look up the answer because I'm never able to figure it out, but I'm also just a dumb YouTuber, and you were probably able to figure it out quicker than me. Once you do open up the secret door, you go into another room that has another small puzzle, where you have to flip the torches to be right side up, and then you go through another secret door, and chapter 13 is finally over. Thank God. To tally the damage, chapter 10 was definitely the outlier with only 1 death, and I don't think I'll ever be able to replicate that in another chapter going forward. Chapters 11 and 12 were honestly pretty easy, all things considering, and that means Chapter 13 takes the cake with 96 deaths. That's actually not all that crazy. All this totals up to 151 deaths for the episode and 867 deaths for the series so far. Chapter 14 starts with some climbing and platforming before we encounter our first set of enemies. And the first thing I learn here is that grenades are not as useful as they may seem. And this is immediately followed up by another death, so this is a great way to start the episode. I think you'll agree. After dying a few more times, I realized I should probably stop and assess the situation a little better.
Headshot. Where's the shotgunner?
It's over.
Oh, found him.
He's right there.
It takes a few more deaths, but eventually I figure out the strat. First, I take out the shotgunner, and then I use a grenade to take out the next couple enemies, hoping to funnel the last enemy to the right side here, where it's just much easier to take him out. Then it's the usual collect ammo, go through a door, and into the next arena.
Oh, this is, under normal circumstances, an incredibly tough 3-stage arena, I believe. So we definitely need to act before.
See? Tough arena. Psych! I actually make it on my next life, so suck it, haters. But first, in order to get out, you have to do this small bell puzzle, which is not tricky at all. The solution is you have to get both of them to ring at the same time, and the way to do that is to walk up to one and interact with it, and then quickly shoot the far one. Doing so will open up a secret door to head into the next area. Oh good, there's a checkpoint here, because I'm gonna die right now. Damn, how'd I know? I do make it through these enemies though by practicing patience and purposely aiming for headshots. Once you get through them, there's a little bit more platforming, and then you finally pop out of the catacombs into Chapter 15.
Cool. Chapter 15. Nice. Yeah, that whole thing could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, seriously. But luckily Chapter 15 starts off with this easy platforming section before this enemy literally makes me drop to my death. These enemies aren't that difficult though, especially when they throw their grenades into the void or directly in front of their comrades. After taking them out, there's still more climbing.
Rip Vine. I miss Vine.
Me too, buddy. And this leads us to probably the worst platforming section of the entire game. The jank just makes everything impossible here. All the angles you have to jump at are super weird, and to make matters worse, there's literally only one checkpoint, and that's all the way at the beginning.
Again, just being precise and diligent about our placement.
And hope the game doesn't screw you over.
Never mind. See?
To make it through though, all you have to do is pull down on both of these keys by jumping through their sections, and then jumping onto this stained glass window that somehow doesn't break into a million pieces when you land on it. I climb out of the castle and into a decently big arena where I cannot stress the importance of learning enemy pathways. For instance, on this life, I learned about the sniper enemies and grenade launcher enemies that are hanging out in the back. I died anyway, but still.
Oh, guess he found me.
You know how when you don't know what to do in an arena, so you create a little strategy and it starts working, but then all of a sudden it stops working and you have no idea why, which causes you to double down on it even harder, even though you had no idea if it was going to continue to be a good strategy in the first place, and then it never works the way you need it to again, despite how much you believed it was going to work?
Dude.
Well, anyway, it took me until Life 902 to figure out a different strategy, and son of a bitch, this one works better. I was even able to make it as far as the stairs before I died, and that's when I realized that once again, there's only one fucking checkpoint here.
Dude. Why is he just one shot? Why are all the pistols just one shot?
Because he's a sniper? Do you think you could take more than one sniper bullet and live? I don't think so. Anyway, my revised strategy for this arena is to take out this guy first, because that makes it much easier for you to take out the sniper and grenade launcher enemies. But you do have to be kind of quick because these enemies come running up the stairs. I personally think that the pistol works great as a backup sniper if you have the time and ammo for it. And then for the second wave, I suggest climbing up this back area, which allows you to steal this enemy's Desert 5, which makes the rest of the enemies a piece of cake. From here, you collect a bunch of ammo and go into the room to meet back up with Elena and Sully. Naturally, we're stuck in here, but that's where Nate's notebook comes in handy. After looking at it, all you have to do is turn the clam twice to the left, the snake once to the left, and then the arrows twice to the right, and this should unlock a secret door. go through that, and into Chapter 16. Chapter 16 throws you right into a labyrinth to start off. It's honestly not difficult though, as you just need to follow the numbers 2, 5, and 7. Stupidly, I still managed to die on the literal first obstacle though. Okay, just need to be more patient. Note taken.
That's fair. Number 3 was pretty good. Why would you do that?
Third time's the charm though, and that's when I make it into the Wipeout section of this game. Hello America, welcome back to Wipeout. I'm your host, Matt Anderson, as always joined by my co-host, Matt Henson. Thank you, Matt. I'm excited to see our contestants take on our brand new Wipeout course. Now, our lawyers have assured us that this course is completely safe to watch at home or from a distance, like us. Up first to the plate is Nate Tomb Raider Drake. Let's see how he fares. Nate makes his first jump and clings to the side of the first obstacle, the steamy swings. Ooh, that's gotta be hot to the touch. Next, he makes his way up the slippery steps and through the next obstacle, Temple Run. Looks like Nate is able to dodge this one, ramming ahead with no challenger. Ooh, but here comes the next obstacle. Is he able to recover from giveaway lead? He does, Matt. Next, our contestant makes his way to the last obstacle of our course, the fiery fly swatters. You know, Matt, you better take his time on this section. A lot of our contestants fail right here. Ooh, looks like he gets battered away like a foul ball. Ooh, that's gonna leave a mark on the death counter. He's back for a second attempt, and he makes it. Congratulations to our newest Wipeout winner, Nate Drake. You know, Matt, I'm gonna miss him. Well, you shouldn't be aiming for him then. Thank you so much, America. We'll see you on next week's episode of Wipeout. Good night, and big balls. After climbing through a window, Nate fails a task successfully, which allows Elena through this big door. Then we randomly meet up with Eddie again, who kills us immediately. Awesome. Admittedly, this section is kind of difficult, but it's not as difficult if you take it a little slowly. I even ran out of ammo on the run where I made it, and Elena shot the last enemy, which was a grenade launcher, saving both of us. You take out a couple more enemies and then lower a double ladder all the way, but immediately get ambushed when you do. Luckily, it checkpoints right here. Another lucky thing is this old wooden rail somehow eating bullets like Tic Tacs. I take out a few enemies, but I leave the last one for Elena as I run away on these stairs. There's 3 more enemies, but they're pretty spread out, so you have to take them out a little more carefully. Then I run up these stairs, skip a cutscene, and great, now we're trapped in Chapter 17. After helping Elena up a broken ladder, Eddie runs into Nate. Instead of killing each other though, they decide to team up against these freaky as fuck monster things. Honestly, this area is pretty fun if you've ever played COD Zombies before. There's infinite ammo in this arena, so literally all you have to do is just run around in circles and shoot without aiming. It works 100% of the time, even after the cutscene. Eventually, Elena lowers a chain for us to climb out, and then the monsters decide that they can climb and chase us out too. I don't know how they decide when they can versus can't climb, because I feel like they should have been able to get Elena way sooner than they got us. But anyway, oh, holy shit, we're into Chapter 18 already.
Alright, we are making our way through this.
Chapter 18 starts with the most tetanus-inducing climb ever. Just listen to that slide. Nails on chalkboard, I swear. After auditioning for American Ninja Warrior, we just have to make this jump. Alright, and restart from the beginning. An interesting thing about this section is that there's only 1 U-boat in this bay when it looks like there's space for 2. That's because we actually explored the first one all the way back in Chapter 3, which basically started this whole adventure. By the way, totally check out that episode if you haven't already. Now we just have to make the jump again.
Don't do it again! Why would you do it again?
Fuck. Okay. 3rd time's the charm.
4th is your favorite? Oh my god.
Never mind, I guess. I do make it on my 4th try though, which I guess is just making up for last chapter.
There we go.
I then head into the German bunker and I pick up an MP40 from the ground, as well as much ammo as I can. Now, I used to piss my pants in this chapter when I was a kid, because it was just so damn scary. But as an adult, I can confidently say I now only piss the bed. Hashtag bedwetter for life. But seriously, this chapter is not difficult at all if you just walk through it and give yourself plenty of space. All the monsters pretty much spawn at the end of the hallways, So just wait for them to run to you, and then you can shred through them like Swiss cheese. Once we get through all of them and make it down the last hallway, we find ourselves in the generator room.
This has got to be the generator room.
In the immortal words of Soulja Boy, we crank that handle, and great. Now every monster on the island is coming out of the walls. Chapter 19 starts with chaos as you try to make your way to the first generator switch. The real strategy here is just don't aim because that'll only slow you down. Once you make your way to the end of the hall, just jump up to safety. Again, no idea why they aren't able to climb here and get you, but oh well, and pull the switch. Same idea for the second one, just run across the hall, shoot anything that moves, jump up, and pull the switch. Then you run back to the bunker where a cutscene tells us that these monsters are actually called Descendants, and they're Nazis. So this really is just COD zombies. More like they can descend into the pits of hell though, am I right? Up top. Because they start swarming the room. It's like really tricky.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Once you finally get all of them though, you're able to finally escape, only to find out that Elena has been captured by Eddie and Roman. So now the chapter really begins. What works for me is using a grenade to take out the first couple of enemies, and then letting the Descendants fight off the rest of them because it's honestly easier that way. Then I take out the rest after they're done fighting, and I let this Descendant take out this enemy too. Then I use the pistol to take out this sniper because otherwise this whole arena would be way more annoying. Into the next section, there's a dragon sniper, which is great, but the enemies can throw grenades which totally destroy your cover. After dying a few more times, I realize that the best strat is to, again, let the Descendants take out as many enemies as possible, and then use the dragon sniper to pick off anyone else after. Another useful tip I figured out actually is that hip firing the pistol at close range is super effective against the Descendants. From there, just keep making your way through the arena, being sure to avoid the sniper fire from up top. Once you take him out though, and a few more Descendants, we're finally able to climb out and back into fresh air. Overall, this episode could have been way worse, given that we went through like 6 chapters. Chapter 14 started us off strong with 18 deaths. Chapter 15 got a little bit worse, but it really didn't feel like it with 21 deaths. Coincidentally, we got 16 deaths in Chapter 16, which I just think is pretty cool. And magically, we got 0 deaths in Chapter 17. 0, dude. I know, it was a ridiculously short chapter, but still. In Chapter 18, we died 3 times, and all of them were to platforming. I'm not salty about that at all. Then Chapter 19 took us home with 18 deaths. This all totals up for an easy 76 deaths this episode, which gives us 943 deaths for the series so far. After exiting the German bunker from last episode, link in the description,
We run through a bit of jungle, straight back into the arena from Chapter 13. Only this time, it's way harder.
What if we just... What?
About 10 deaths in, and the only advice I have is, don't start Chapter 20 with a shotgun if you can help it.
I don't know what to do.
Since I'm barely staying alive long enough to study enemy spawn points, I revised my strategy from running straight in to taking cover burst, and you know what? That actually worked. From here, I was able to get a better handle on the shotgun enemies directly in front of me, and see that there's 2 sniper enemies here too. I also figured out that...
How... So, okay, so if he takes that shot and doesn't react, 100% means that he's going to kill you.
And on the big 1000, I proved that theory true.
See? You see what I mean? See how he didn't react at all, and then he just like, he barely even looked at me and just killed me?
It is this run though where I finally make it past this first part. After getting lucky and taking out the shotgun enemies in front of me, I pick up this dragon sniper from the ground and use it to take out the 2 sniper enemies above me too. Then I use the rest of the ammo and some well-placed grenades to take out the incoming second wave of enemies, making sure they never got too close.
Fuck. No! Please tell me that was a checkpoint. Okay, good.
It only takes a couple more deaths for me to make it through this second part, which is like surprisingly easy. From here, as always, we collect a bunch of ammo before going into the arena that will turn any good day immediately bad. And side note, I have no idea why my face cam is blinking. Sorry about that. As soon as you enter, you're bombarded by sniper fire and explosions. Having done this arena several times on the previous difficulties, I can safely say that the only thing that stays the same is that Sully is awful at shooting. I don't think he hits a single thing this entire arena.
Damn it.
What I find works best is to pick up the dragon sniper from the ground and use it to take out the closest enemy sniper. Then take out the couple of enemies that are rushing you using your pistol and grenades. This should allow you to take out the other 3 snipers relatively easily, but you can also just take out all 4 snipers at once if you're a real MLG pro like that. Doing all this, the game will reward you with a small breather, but not with a checkpoint.
Damn it. It was not a checkpoint. That's okay. That makes sense.
On life 1019, I realized the best way through the second wave is to use the grenade launcher that 2 enemies drop in the first wave. So now comes the tricky part of taking out those 2 enemies close to each other and close to cover.
No! Damn it. Damn it, dude. No, dude, are you kidding me?
After a solid 45 minutes of dying repeatedly, like that one movie with Tom Cruise, I'm pretty sure, I finally managed to do just that and break through the second wave. It takes a combination of grenades, the grenade launcher, the M4, grit, and luck. But unlike the first wave, the third wave starts immediately.
I don't exactly know how the third wave starts. Oh, it's already started.
These enemies spawn above and behind you, so I recommend going into the church a little bit to take cover. It's not that the third wave is overly difficult, it's just that you get like no downtime to prepare for it. For this guy, I become a stormtrooper apparently because I just can't hit him, and I go through like all my pistol ammo. So when I do get him and get a new weapon, Sully suddenly decides to become useful and takes out the very last guy. Thanks, dude. That doesn't like excuse you for the past hour though.
Oh, he got him.
Come on, Sully. There should
Let's
be a hidden
go.
passage.
After collecting unnecessary ammo, Nate and Sully move this altar that has a secret passageway into Chapter 21.
Golden Bone.
You want to tell me what the hell's going on?
Chapter 21 starts with Nate running through some catacombs and catching Sully up on what is going on with the treasure. After skipping a cutscene, you enter into the most run-and-gun arena of the whole game. Despite the amount of Descendants and human enemies here, you literally can just run straight to the end and shoot without aiming. You can still die if you're not quick enough, but I'm the master of quick. Just ask my girlfriend. Wait, no. Chapter 22 is by far
Showdown.
the worst chapter of the entire game. Like, it would not surprise me if this chapter alone is the reason why people hate this trophy.
But
It is nearly impossible right off the bat. Other than taming my inner frustration, the first thing I learned is that Navarro will always shoot 4 times. The first 3 times will be a blind fire, but the 4th time, he'll aim.
Okay.
It's like reverse whack-a-mole. Poke your head up while he's aiming, and you're dead.
Oh, he was aiming.
The second thing to learn is that these wooden box covers can and will break. Oh, not by your shooting though, no. Of course not. They only break to enemy fire. Isn't that great? It's beyond annoying because not only are you counting out all of Navarro's shots and trying to take out enemies that can take cover better than you, and you have limited ammo to do so, but you are constantly running around because otherwise your cover breaks
And you're dead. Again.
Uh-oh. Damn it.
Oh, and I think it should go without saying, but you can't rush Navarro. He'll just straight up kill you.
What? Dude, what was that? I've
And
never
there's a good
seen that.
chance that you'll die immediately after respawn.
Just gonna like.
I have no idea why,
annihilate
and
you,
it
even if
frustrated
you
me
killed
so
the
much
last
that
guy.
I pretty much rage quit this stream and had to pick it up later.
Oh,
Don't worry, through the
God.
power of editing, you'll see it all in this video though.
Cool.
So after
Yeah,
calming
the
down,
report
I
done
came
to
back
this
into the
point. It's the
game,
final
ready to take
chapter.
this chapter head on.
And there we go.
Also,
Proven.
another
Proven.
side note, there's
my
no
first time
gameplay
playing
audio
it
from this point on, and
on
that's totally
this-
on me.
this
I bought a
monitor.
new monitor in between streams, and I thought I set it up properly, but I guess I didn't, so sorry about that.
What was
It'll
the
be fixed next
strategy?
time. My strat starting off
Right.
was to roll left and try to
Alright.
take out every
Pretty
enemy
good.
that I could, but that proved to be really
Okay.
difficult. Eventually, I powered my way through it,
Got him.
only to get stuck in the second stage, which was even more difficult in my opinion. To
This
make
guy's
matters
first.
worse, there's no checkpoint for the second stage,
Damn
so
it.
you had to keep dying
I feel
over
like the
and over
strategy is
again in the
just
first first
get
stage
him out,
just
like,
to get a
immediately.
chance at the second stage, only to
No.
inevitably
Ah,
fail
he goes there.
and go back to the first stage.
Dude.
It's a vicious
All right,
cycle.
it's okay. Nope.
A whole 10
what
minutes
now?
into the stream, and I looked up a tutorial on how to get through the second stage because I just
I don't
could
know
not
what I'm
figure
supposed
it
to
out.
do.
I'll
at
leave a
that
link to the
point.
strategy
You know
I
what
use in the
mean?
description, but the gist of
Maybe I
it
should look
is
up
to
a
use active
quick
cover.
tutorial.
Once you get to the second stage, try to immediately go back to the first stage to draw the enemies closer to you
come on.
without them actually being able to get you.
Okay, we're safe here.
A whole 10 minutes after that, and I looked up another tutorial. And this
Come
one said
on.
to use the shotgun from the first stage for
Oh
the
my
first
God.
wave of the second stage. Then grab the M4 and go back to the first stage to take out the second wave of enemies from the second stage. Confused yet?
Dude.
These tutorials helped a lot, but they were so much easier said than done.
This is actually kind of brutal.
You don't say.
Whoa, I said
I'm
the word, I
only
said the
30
thing.
minutes into this stream and already 60 deaths down. Then I tried a new strategy
let's
for the
try it
first
again.
stage,
Boop.
where instead of rolling left, I
Boop.
went right to use this container
Boop.
for active cover.
Boop.
And after a few deaths, I think
Boop.
it ultimately worked better than
No,
the strategy
dude.
I came up with.
Why is their flinch time like just shorter than my pump time?
Well, for one,
doesn't
I
seem
agree. The pacing of this level is
fair.
very much hindered by the lack of surpassed time from the moment the opponent is struck with shotgun fire and when Nathan Drake is able to reload
There we
said
go.
shotgun. And to you
Damn
gross
it.
dude, what the fuck? I was even pushed to
Well,
that
this sucks.
all too familiar state of just giving up on this run and going for the next life already.
Let's just go for it.
And
Real
then
nice.
finally, after an hour and 45 minutes, I finally had a breakthrough.
go,
First,
go,
I
go,
would
go,
go
go,
behind
go,
this
go, go,
container
go.
and
Done.
use a shotgun to take out
And
all
the
these
next.
enemies. Then I would go into the second stage and take out the first
Okay.
few enemies with the same shotgun. As soon as I took out the last guy, I'd grab the M4 and ran
Jump,
back to the
run.
first stage. Once I healed
Nice.
up, I would stand on this box and I would very carefully take out the remaining enemies. From here,
You're the
you
best.
gather up ammo and go into the next part and oh no, Nate, look out for
Circle.
that falling container.
you.
Oh, thank
I
God you
died
dodged it.
instantly.
That'd really suck if you died right now.
Oh, it starts me from here.
It turns out this container is
the
the next
Lord.
major enemy because it's nearly
Alright.
impossible to
If
get
that's the
past
case,
it and
let's take a
survive for
small
some
break.
reason.
Let's do it.
Dude. Like, also, does anyone remember when Spider-Man 2 came out for PS5 and everyone was ragging on Peter for not lifting the fridge? Who wore it better in your opinion? My vote's for Bruce Wayne.
What is the point of all those push-ups if you can't even lift a bloody log?
I genuinely don't know, actually.
He says right before having the best run he's had
last
so
part
far.
was maybe
I also think it's
I
funny
understand
that
why
you can
there's a
tell the
checkpoint
exact
now,
moment I locked in
because
with
it
how
won't let
instantly
you-
I shut up. Then I found out that you can actually run back through the previous stages to collect a bunch of ammo. But it was like every time I did that, I always
You're just gonna
died.
die.
In fact, I ran a little impromptu experiment and
See, we do all this prep work just to immediately eat shit. But watch. I'm not gonna do the prep work now. I'm just gonna go in with the 28. Watch what happens.
after winning the Nobel Prize in
Isn't that
Science for
crazy?
that, I figure out how to
trying to
get
just
past the
run
container,
straight
and that's by
into
running
the
directly into it, not at an angle into the
Okay.
arena. Don't ask me why it works, because I don't know. All I know is that it does work.
Instead of purposely running to the side, I'm gonna purposely run straight into the crate.
It works so well, in fact, that I'm able to make it through this entire stage and make it to the fight with Navarro. Again, the trick here is to just count his shots
Looks
before
down.
moving covers. He is guaranteed
3,
to destroy
towards
the
the last
cover
one.
you were at, though, so I recommend
1,
anticipating it
2,
and moving quickly.
3,
From here, though, you
melee,
just follow the
triangle,
on-screen prompts
square,
to beat him up,
straight
and then you
to
run
him,
straight for him right here because he can shoot you
triangle,
if you don't.
Square.
Once you take him down,
Nice.
though, you're finally rewarded with that sweet, sweet
on.
gold trophy. That's it! That's the trophy! I would say it's music to my ears, but you can't
We
fucking
can't
hear
skip
it.
this. Oh my god, that was it. That's the trophy.
But
We just did it,
wow,
guys.
I can't believe we
Let's
actually
fucking
made it.
go.
So I guess
Let's
for the
go.
last time this game, let's count up the deaths.
That's it.
Chapter 22 gave us 104 deaths, which isn't an insignificant amount. What is insignificant, though, is Chapter 21, because we only had 1 death. And that means Chapter 22 left us with an astounding
317 deaths. That means for a chapter that took me 2 hours 15 minutes, I died on average every 2.5 minutes. That's just crazy to me. This all totals up to 422 deaths for the episode. Damn, 2 less deaths than that would have been kind of funny. And this gives us a series total of, drumroll please, 1,365 deaths. Wow. That is actually kind of crazy to me. After having done it now, I can totally see why people hate this trophy and why they say it takes years off your life. If you are going for this nearly 20-year-old trophy, I wish you the best of luck, and I hope this series has been educational for you. At least I hope it's been entertaining. I'm not sure I'd fully recommend going for it again, but it was a fun challenge nonetheless. I, for one, will be very happy to never think about or look at this trophy ever again, at least until Uncharted 2. Thank you so much for watching. Not just this episode, but this series as a whole. This has been so much fun for me to start and do, and I'm really happy with how this series has turned out. So whether you've been subscribed since day one, or this is your first time seeing me, thank you from the bottom of my heart for stopping by and watching me die way too many times. Let me know in the comments what games you want to see me trophy hunt or death count next, because even though this is the end of this series, it's just the start of the channel, and I can't wait to see where we go. I hope you all have enjoyed watching this as much as I've enjoyed making it. If you want to be really cool, you can hit the like button, and if you want to be super awesome, you'll even hit subscribe too. Thank you so much. I'll leave a link to the original streams as well as the full completed playlist in the description below, so that way you can binge every episode back to back. I've also linked all my socials in case that's more your speed. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day. See you later.